Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. And yesterday was the end of the 24 hours of Le Mans and another incredible victory for the Scuderia. And I believe I predicted this one not only exactly right, but perfectly exactly right. I said the number 50 Ferrari would win the 24 hours of Le Mans, and it did. I said despite the fact it was starting in last place after Kobayashi spun in qualifying, the number 7 Toyota would finish in second place. And it did. And I also said United Autosport's number 23 car would win the LMP2 class. It did not. But their teammate did. And GT, I think I said Team WRT, they finished second. So I wasn't far off of that one either. Le Mans is a really hard race to predict, especially now that we have so many top quality hypercars in it. LMP2, we don't see them running in the World Endurance normally, but if you watch European Le Mans, you can get a sense of which teams are in a good place right now. Cool Racing, Algarve Pro are doing very well in the European Le Mans series, but it doesn't really necessarily tell you what's going to happen at Le Mans. And so that's always a very hard class to predict, especially now you're not seeing them at this level all the time. GT class, near impossible. It's such a big mix of drivers and manufacturers, and honestly, it's easier to pick a piece of hay out of a stack of needles. For GT class, immense. The race itself, it was 24 hours of glorious action. Very, very long safety car periods, which I think they said this was the record for most time behind a safety car at Le Mans, just because of the new rules around safety cars, with the free safety cars going around the track and having different queues. It's a bit complicated, not sure I like it very much, and it did hold up the racing. In fact, when we had the BMW crash, I think it was, I don't know how long it was a very, very long time behind the safety car to repair the barriers and then to have all the right going around. It's a shame, but it's a necessary safety measure. It's more important that no one gets hurt. There weren't many crashes at this Le Mans. There's a few spins here and there, but considering the weather was so bad, not that it rained so hard it was impossible to drive around, just that it was so stop-start and you had to be so careful with strategy, which played a big part in the result of this race. It does surprise me that we only had really 3 or 4 really big crashes and a couple dozen spins. I think that is a definite show of the quality of driver on display. Really, really immense. And maybe the technology as well. Maybe the cars just handle the weather really, really well. Quite a lot of chicane cutting, but in the damp conditions, I think that is acceptable to a level. But the race was really, I would say, won on strategy. Porsche, I did say Penske would have a disaster. It didn't go great for them, but it wasn't a complete no-hoper. Their championship-leading car did finish 4th. So no Penske Porsches on the podium at Le Mans. Porsche did not win their 20th Le Mans race. And I think they'll be very disappointed given how good the Porsches have been up to this point. The championship is actually really, really close. I think the Penske Porsche has 99 points and the 50 Ferrari and 7 Toyota are 6 points behind. And their teammates are not a million miles off, but they are further away. And that means that the team that decides this car is going to be the championship winning car, so the other car is going to support it. If they can do that, they'll be at least ahead in the strategy department a little bit. Not easy to do when you've got people like Sebastian Buemi in the number 8 Toyota. He's not going to want to pull over for the number 7 Toyota, and I'm sure that goes for every race driver, but there are personalities in particular who are not going to be all that helpful in that regard. But the number 8 Toyota's had the majority of the success. You have to feel sorry for Ryo Hirakawa, who has come in late and not had the level of success Sebastian Buemi has had. But still, Toyota have been immense over the last, 7 years, 6, 7 years. They've had plenty of success in that time. Not won at Le Mans 2 years running. They finished second both times. They'll be massively disappointed that their reign of domination has definitely ended. The Ferrari only seems to be able to win at Le Mans, which might worry them slightly. They need to do it somewhere else as well if they want to win the World Endurance Championship, but their cars are definitely capable. They look so quick, and they have very capable drivers. In all three cars, the other Ferrari, the yellow one, it was leading at points in this race. It drove very well. And again, I'm sure it could be used for strategy in future races. Porsche have plenty of cars in the field. I'm sure they could ask Proton to help them. Team Hertz, maybe less likely because technically I think their car still has a chance of playing a part in the championship itself. They have won a race this year at Imola, and they had a really poor Le Mans. They were kind of midfield pretty much all the time, so that's going to hurt any kind of title chances they have, but they have been good and they have the talent to turn it around as well. For the other teams, I said Cadillac were going to be a dark horse for the Le Mans race. The number 2 got up there at times, but it wasn't a great race for them. I think the Whelen Engineering one dropped out at some point. It might have crashed, actually. I can't remember now. Too much happened. I should have written it down. But the other Cadillacs, the number 2, it looked fairly quick at times, but I don't think it really had the pace to keep up with the lead pack. Cadillac were behind Porsche, Toyota and Ferrari, definitely the best of the rest, but they weren't anything special. This was a massive disaster for Alpine and BMW. I mean, one of the BMWs got knocked out of the race. Very unfortunate. It was a big crash. As I said, we had the safety car out for a very, very long time after that. And I think the other BMW just ran into mechanical issues. It was a bad day for Team WRT because they lost one of the GT cars, the Valentino Rossi one, Al Harty and Eastwood, because that crashed as well. And that was higher than the other one, so they might have had a double podium in GT if that car had been able to run smoothly. Unfortunately, it retired. And honestly, in the hypercar class, I don't think a podium was ever likely, but a top 10 might have been, and it didn't happen. Alpine, I think they both had engine failures, so I don't know if that's some part of the car that they have a shared part and it's broken on both, but massively disappointing for the French team. Peugeot, they were nowhere in this race either. I can't really call it a disaster because they have been poor pretty much everywhere, and this was not really any better for them. So I honestly, Peugeot I'm sure are going all in on Le Mans. They would love to win the World Endurance Championship, but they really want to win Le Mans, and it's just not happening for them. I wonder when Peugeot will pull the plug on this project, because I think at this level of success, they're not a manufacturer who's going to decide we'll hang it out for a few years, see how it goes. They'll pull the plug. I'm sure they will. As for the other smaller ones, Lamborghini, I said they'd do well to see it to the end. I think both cars did make it to the end, so you can consider that a good Le Mans for Iron Lynx. For them, it's data and testing and taking that information away and making it better. Iron Lynx, massive organisation. They have hands in so many pies, and they're not only growing as a team, they are having a lot more influence on motorsport in many different series. So that Lamborghini project is not dead in the water. It needs time. And honestly, running for 24 hours, it had its issues. I think one of them did drop back, but I think one of them did finish ahead of the Peugeots, or one of the Peugeots. So it was overall a good Le Mans for them, as it was also for Isotto Frascini. Again, just getting to the end is an amazing achievement. They really are the backmarker team in hypercar, completely outclassed by everyone. They made it to the end when so many didn't. Out of 23 cars, they finished 14th because they didn't hit too many issues. I think they were 5 or 6 laps down. That's nothing to be embarrassed about. It really was an incredible Le Mans for them, and I'm sure they're dead proud to finish the race. So, and in 14th, it was a good job from them. I think that's pretty much all of the hypercars. Honestly, there isn't like a single driver I'd single out and say this guy really, in a 24-hour race, it's really hard to pick out one guy who drove really well. But Antonio Falchio, his stints, he drove amazingly well. He was incredible, as was Jose Maria Lopez, who was brought in last minute to drive that Toyota. He did an incredible job as well. Very, very impressive. And there's probably a few others I could think of. Robert Kubica did a good job, but he did have his contact with the BMW. I think it was him driving. But there's not really anyone else who I'd single out and say they did a great job. But if anyone else you think did a really good job, then let me know in the comments, because I think it's very hard to single out single drivers from teams for Le Mans because it's such a team event. As for, I'm not got too much to say about LMP2 because obviously it's not part of the championship, it's just a really big race for them. A lot of spins in this class, a couple of big crashes, a couple of cars didn't finish. Nothing really too surprising. Vector Racing looked like they were going to win it at some point because they led for a big chunk of the last 12 hours, I think. And in the end, though, it was United Autosports, and it's a good result for them. I said they could do with a win at Le Mans, and they got it. So, good job for them, I guess. And in the GT class, Manfred Porsche again. They really look unstoppable, but it was not the championship leading one, it was the other one. And with the Team WRT 31 BMW coming second, that does close the GT class up a little bit. Both Porsches are first and second, and the BMW are third, but it's really, really close now. They've kind of left everyone else behind, and again, there was teams who would be disappointed. I think Lexus did a good job. They should be happy with their result, but the likes of Corvette, it just didn't happen for them. A lot of Ferraris hit trouble. McLarens had their issues. But as the D Station Aston Martin didn't have a great race, but better than the other Aston Martin that ended up on its roof. Overall, fantastic 24 hours of Le Mans. I did watch the whole race sitting here, funnily enough. I was incredibly tired because I stayed up and watched the football as well. So I didn't go to bed for another 7 hours after it finished, and I was up before it started. I actually was up fairly early in the morning as well. I think in total it was around 40 hours I was awake, which is less than some of the mechanics working at Le Mans. So it shows you how incredible that event was. I was so tired by the end of Sunday night. I can't imagine how the mechanics felt. They probably couldn't sleep because they have so much adrenaline and stuff, but it really is one of the most incredible events of the year. I had more fun watching 24 hours of the World Endurance Championship in one sitting than I would any other form of motorsport. If you just put a load of Formula 1 races back to back for 24 hours, I would not enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the 24 hours of Le Mans. It really was incredible. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of the race? Did you enjoy watching it? Did you watch all of it? Make sure you subscribe to the channel, nearly at 1,300 now, which is incredible. So thank you very much for getting me there. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.